I believe those Texas A&M players are going to come out pissed off at the entire world, and they're going to obliterate Miami. Woo! What's going on, everybody? It is time for one of my favorite, and I mean one of my absolute favorite videos of the week, the Week 3 preview. It's self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to explain it too much. It's simple. We're going to preview and predict the games for tomorrow, which is Saturday. Before we get into it, I do apologize. This video is coming later out than I normally would like it. That's because we had to make a video earlier today on all the craziness going on with Scott Frost and some of the allegations going on. So I do apologize. It's coming out a little later than normal, but it's all good. It's still going to be up. I got my Diet Coke. I'm ready to go. I hope all y'all had a great and blessed week. It's Friday. You know what that means for people like me and you? It means we are one day closer to the best day of the week where we can watch college football from 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. the next day. Saturday. You can't change my mind. There's nothing better than waking up early on a Saturday morning, getting a cup of coffee, and hearing College Game Day in your living room. Real quick, before we jump into things, I normally say, if you're new to the channel or you're not subscribed, go down there, consider hitting that subscribe button. But I want to come by and say thank you guys so much to all the people that are subscribed and you've been supporting the channel. For everyone that's been watching the videos, whether you've been watching for a year now or 1 or 2 days, I greatly appreciate your support. You don't understand how much it means to me. For every single one of you that has watched the video, liked the video, subscribed, it's helped us out so much. Thank you once again. Oh boy, you better strap in and lock in for this one because it's about to get spicy. Yeah, that was probably the corniest and the weirdest thing I've ever said on this channel, but I think you are getting what I'm trying to say. I'm about to have some bold predictions. I don't know why I thought saying spicy would have sounded cool or whatnot. Anyways, let's just get a move on. I will say this. It is your typical week 3 for any college football season. Not the best slate of games I've ever seen. I can't really say I'm disappointed because it's week 3. It's that weird time frame where there's not going to be a lot of hyped up week 1 matchups and you're not in conference play just quite yet. This is what I would like to call one of the very, and I mean the very few weekends where if your wife wants you to take her out for Saturday night dinner or do something with her on a Saturday, go ahead, use this Saturday because everyone else is going to be packed. There's only about 1, maybe at max 2 Saturdays all throughout the college football season where there's not many good games, and this is one of them. However, with that being said, may I remind you, my man, it's college football. Chaos is going to happen regardless. This is why, in my humble opinion, college football is the greatest sport on earth, no debate. Why is it the greatest, you may ask? Because it's not like the NFL, where the NFL, we know what's going to happen. Those guys are mature. They've been playing football for years. They're not going to slip up or mess up often. Whereas for college football, you got kids who are 18 and 19 years old where they're going to have mental brain lapses and they're going to mess up all throughout the game. Special teams are always chaotic. You got kickers who can't make field goals. You got punters who can't catch a snap. Just anything can happen. It's one of the craziest things ever. For example, look at Florida's quarterback. He looked like a Heisman candidate in week 1, and in week 2, he looked like the worst quarterback in the country. That's what I'm talking about. You're not going to see that stuff at the NFL level. Starting it off slightly, not hot, but sizzling, you got this game at 11 a.m., and it does intrigue me. You know I'm not going to talk about a game if it doesn't get me excited. The number 1 team in the country, big almighty Georgia, and I would say they deserve the right to be number 1, versus South Kakalaki. I don't think it's necessarily going to be all too close, but I just want to see how Spencer Rattler can play against Georgia. South Carolina's defense, not the greatest in the world. I would expect Georgia to hang about 35-40 minimum. The biggest thing to watch for in this game is to see if South Carolina's offense and Spencer Rattler can keep up with Georgia's offense. Wow, I just realized what I said. Whoever would have thought in a million years I said, can a team keep up with Georgia's offense? Hey, that's where we're at now in the Kirby Smart era. Georgia, they can put up points. Oh yeah, by the way, if you couldn't tell by the way I'm talking, I got Georgia winning this game. Moving along here, taking a look at maybe arguably one of the biggest games of the weekend at 11 a.m. as well, Nebraska and Oklahoma. I think it's safe to say you're going to have a lot of people tuning into this one, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's the most watched game on Saturday. Why is that? Because look at Oklahoma. They got one of the biggest and most passionate fan bases out there, and ironically enough, so does Nebraska. Nebraska has sucked for the past 5 or 6 years, but they got a huge fan base. I feel sorry for them. Oklahoma fans, obviously, they're going to watch this game because they have something going for them. They're undefeated, and they're the 6th ranked team in the country, but Nebraska fans are also going to tune in because it's almost like they got a refresher and a new start. Nebraska has talent, so a lot of these fans want to see what they can look like without that loser of a head coach, Scott Frost, behind the wheel. The line for this game continues to go down. Only 3 or 4 days ago, it was at 14. It's at 11 currently. I do believe Nebraska is going to come out like they have nothing to lose because, quite frankly, they have literally nothing to lose. But Oklahoma, they should win this no problems. I got them. Next up, I'm going to keep this one short and simple. This game doesn't matter because BYU's not making the playoff, Oregon's not making the playoff, but give me Oregon. Moving on down the line here at a game that a lot of people are looking forward to from the Big Ten and Southeast, you got Penn State and Auburn. I remember watching this game last year. I believe College Game Day was there. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Correct me in the comment section down below. But it was an awesome sight to see, and Penn State, they put off the win. This year just feels slightly different from last year, and both of these programs, they're in a weird situation. Auburn's one of the worst teams in the SEC. They're a dumpster fire, and they barely beat San Jose State last week. On the flip side for Penn State, yeah, you're undefeated. You're ranked 22 in the country, but Sean Cliff is your quarterback. You can take that how you want. I'll leave it at this, and if you're a Penn State fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The good news is, Sean Cliff is your quarterback. The bad news is, Sean Cliff is your quarterback. If you don't watch Penn State or you're not a fan, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, and I just can't fill you in. It's too much to go over. The Sean Clifford experience is one of the craziest and wild experiences I've ever seen. To go along with that, if this game wasn't already weird and strange enough, here's another thing that does shock me. The line for this game is Penn State by 2.5 points. Maybe I'm crazy, but that doesn't make any sense to me. I think Penn State is not 2 times, but they are way better than Auburn right now. And y'all know I think the Big Ten is the most overrated conference in the country, but I like Penn State winning this one by double digits with ease. Moving on down the line here, and like I said, there's not many great games to look forward to. This is interesting though. 11th ranked Michigan State, 2-0, plays at Washington, and Michigan State, the ranked team, they're an underdog by 3.5 points. You want to know why they're an underdog? Because they're not the 11th best team in the country, and they're overrated just like last year. May I remind you what happened last year? When Michigan State played Ohio State, you was losing 49-0 at half. You got exposed. Michigan State is a fraud. If they was in the SEC right now, I think I said it in a video about a day or two ago, I said they'd go 8-4. Let me change that. They might go 7-5, maybe 6-6. Michigan State's overrated, but I am going to pull the strings here and say they win this game in a close one. Some of y'all might think I'm insane for this one, but I think it's one of those trap games, Texas and UTSA. Whoa. Hold on. I know what you're saying. Matt, you're dumb. Texas, they're going to blow them out. Well, my friend, the line for this game is only 12.5, and it's looking like Quinn Ewers, he's not going to play quarterback. I haven't heard any updates besides Steve Sarkisian saying he's not going to announce a starter, so I'm going to assume that Hudson Card, the backup to Ewers, he's going to start. Don't get me wrong, he played okay against Bama, but I saw him play last year. He's nothing special. And there's a reason he's the backup. He's not the best quarterback on the roster. That's Ewers. Yes, I think Texas is going to win this game, but I think it could be a letdown. Maybe they win it, but only by a touchdown or a field goal or something like that. Pay attention to that game. It's a perfect letdown one. They're coming off that amazing effort against Alabama, where mentally a lot of those players are drained because they felt like they should have won that game. I like Texas to win this game, but I think it could be close and it could be a scary game. Moving on to the game of the night, the game of the day. No questions, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We got good old Texas A&M and Miami. When I tell you there's a lot on the line on this one, I don't know if that does it any justice. Texas A&M, no introduction needed. They're coming off of a huge L to Appalachian State, at home by the way. And then we got Miami, laying low under the radar, going undefeated, and already ranked 13th in the country. Mario Cristobal's doing a good job there, and I like what he's building. Although I think Miami is probably 3, 4, 5 years away from contending for a playoff, they're doing good right now. That program has been a dumpster fire the past recent years. I think Miami fans are happy with where they're at. On the flip side, for Texas A&M fans, they couldn't be any more pissed off. I couldn't imagine being a Texas A&M fan. I tried telling you in the offseason Jimbo Fisher's a fraud, and none of you wanted to listen to me. I'm not going to sit up here and rant about Jimbo Fisher. Let's get down to business, and let's talk about the game. I believe you're about to see a Texas A&M football team come out and play like their life is on the line. All week long, all they have heard from their fans, all they've heard from people around campus, everywhere in the country on social media is how terrible they are. There hasn't been a single good thing said about this program or team in the past week. The one thing about A&M that you can't deny, and everybody knows this, is they have a plentiful of talent. The only bad part about that team right now is they can't put it together. I want you to think about it. You got a team full of 4- and 5-star recruits that are pissed off and ready to go. Their season right now on Saturday, it's only week 3, but their entire season is on the line. Whereas for Miami, yeah, they want to win the game, of course. You want to win every single game, but it's not the end-all, be-all for them. For A&M, you lose this game, you probably got about a 1% shot of making the playoff. Even though it is a non-conference game, and if you lose it, you'll still be 0-0 in the SEC, I find it hard to believe an A&M team that loses to Miami and Appalachian State can make the playoff if they run the table after that. To go on top of that, if they lose Miami, I don't know why anyone would even try to believe they would run the table anyways. But there's one main difference in this ball game, ladies and gentlemen. What has been holding Texas A&M back? Their quarterback. And guess what? They got a new one. In the first 2 games of the season total, their defense has only given up 17 points. So it's not the defense. Appalachian State only scored 17 points, and in the first game, they allowed 0. You don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. It's the quarterback position. He's holding them back. Earlier today, they made it official and announced that Max Johnson, the transfer from LSU, he's going to be the new starter. Here's my thing with this. I don't care who the starter is going to be. You couldn't do worse than Haynes King. You had to get him out of there. I'm sorry, Haynes King. You seem like a great and humble young man, but you're not a good football player. It is what it is. Go cry about it. You might possibly have a good career at Chattanooga State Water Aquarium, but you're no longer going to be an SEC quarterback. I'm sorry about it. I personally thought Max Johnson was going to be the starter when he announced he was going to transfer from LSU to Texas A&M in the offseason. And yeah, surprisingly, he wasn't. It was a shock to me because I thought, oh yeah, that's an immediate upgrade over Haynes King, who hasn't even played in the SEC, and Max Johnson. For those of you that don't know, he was a starter at LSU. At LSU last year, playing in the Southeast, the best conference in the country, he had 2,800 passing yards with 27 touchdowns to only 6 INTs. Say what you want about him, but that's pretty good in the SEC. Do I think he's on the level of a Bryce Young or Caleb Williams? Absolutely not, but he's definitely an upgrade. Sometimes all it takes is a quarterback change. A new quarterback for a team is similar to a new life. Look at Alabama and Georgia in the national championship. They was losing 13-0 at half. You insert the freshman Tua Tagovailoa, and they win the championship. They were playing like a new and better team. Same thing last year for Oklahoma. They looked like a terrible offensive team with Spencer Rattler running the show. They plug in Caleb Williams, and they look like one of the best offensive teams in the country. You know what they say? History, it tends to repeat itself. Maybe we see that this Saturday. Let me change that statement. I don't just think we're going to see that. I believe we're going to see that. I believe those Texas A&M players are going to come out pissed off at the entire world, and they're going to obliterate Miami. Not only do I predict Texas A&M to win this game, but they are going to win it convincingly 35-13. 35-13, not going to be relatively close. Big win for the Aggies and Jumbo Fisher. I'm excited for that game. Y'all let me know your thoughts down below, but Roto Millie!